Hey, I'm Dr. Gardner, and tonight I wanted to talk to you about tracheal collapse. It's something that we diagnose very frequently, primarily in smaller breed dogs. It can be exacerbated by several things. The first one is being overweight. The second one is lower airway disease, something like asthma or something infectious. Dental disease and cardiomegaly, which is an enlarged heart, can also contribute. And then if there's any other concurrent respiratory issue, the cough associated with tracheal collapse tends to sound like a goose honking noise. How do we diagnose tracheal collapse? Well, certainly you would head to your veterinarian and have a conversation. They would do a physical exam, but we do typically do chest x-rays. And then how do you treat it? So in Western medicine, we would typically start with antitussives, so things to make them stop the cough. And a lot of times that's hydrocodone. We would use sedatives or things to calm them down because we want to prevent them from going into those fits of coughing where they have difficulty breathing. So that's another thing we would use. Sometimes we'll use bronchodilators. So that's something that opens up the airway. So it helps them to breathe better. And then in some cases we'll use steroids, in some cases we'll use antibiotics. That's typically if there's something else going on top of the tracheal collapse. But that's kind of the list of things and how we would approach it. I also will recommend that people use a HEPA filter in their house, and so that improves the air quality. And then I'll also recommend using a harness instead of a collar, like I said earlier. And then slippery elm and honey can be great for a cough, so I would recommend that. I also think omega fatty acids are fantastic for general inflammation, so that can be really helpful. Then some dogs that have tracheal collapse also have acid reflux, and that can cause coughing and then send them into a fit. So I think that probiotics can be really helpful to get the gut flora healthy to reduce any acid reflux. So probiotics are a great addition. And then I do like cartilage support. And then the last thing I recommend is that they moisten the food. So those are some of the things to consider at home if your dog is diagnosed with tracheal collapse. One final thing that I will say is that in extreme cases, sometimes they'll place a stent, and that can sometimes be helpful and sometimes not, but tends to be in later stages in more extreme cases. So I hope that you find that information helpful. I welcome any questions or comments. I would love to hear from you. And if there's any particular topic that you would like me to talk about, I hope that you will like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.